All right, welcome back to the channel. So we got some bad news. Looks like a fight that we wanted to see happen will not be happening. Errol Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas. Let's talk about why and what the WBA had to say about it in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Before we get into the meat of the video, please make sure to hit the like button before you, and hopefully watch the video all the way to the end. Bad news for Errol Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas. The two of them were trying to make a fight with one another to unify the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF belts. But the WBA has said no in their actions. It just came out on the WBA Twitter page that they have ordered a purse bid for tomorrow for the fight between Yordenis Ugas and Stanionis. Please forgive me for killing his name, but the guy that they had ordered to fight. Because they have now ordered that purse bid, you know what their decision is as far as them giving Yordenis Ugas what Yordenis Ugas wanted, which was a pass to fight Errol Spence Jr. They have decided that they are going to prioritize the unification of their belts over the unification or the pursuit of undisputed by the sanctioned and body champions. Now, the reason why they were doing this, and I understand why they're doing it, they were, but it's really, I understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, you know, it's kind of like, man, you guys pick a real funny time to do right. Now, after there was a fight a couple months ago that took place between Michael Fox and a guy named, last name is Maestra, and there was a lot of turmoil that took place over the judging of that fight. So the WBA was put under a lot of pressure by an organization that is called that goes by the acronym ABC, or the Association of Boxing Commissions. The Association of Boxing Commissions is an organization that was established by the federal government, and their job is to oversee the sanctioning bodies that have fights in the United States. That body ordered the WBA to reduce the number of champions that they have, and because they believed that that was a violation of the Muhammad Ali Act, that because they had so many champions that they really did not, and that they really did not have a real champion. And there's regulations in the Muhammad Ali Act that require those guys to have a legitimate ranking system and a way to name a champion. So the the ABC said that, so the WBA went about trying to shrink down its belts. Now, if you look at them, I do believe at a certain point in time, with 17 different weight classes, the WBA had like 82 champions, like some just absolute ridiculous number of champions. They had the WBA Super, the WBA Regular, the WBA Interim, right? Other different, WBA Diamond, whatever else they had, WBA, you know, paper mache, whatever they had. So they had to get those. They went on about saying that they were going to shrink those belts. So in that weight class, 147 pounds, they have said that they ordered fights between their WBA super champion, which is Yordenis Ugas, and one of the top contenders whose name is Stanionis. And then they also ordered a fight between Jamal James and another guy named Butiev. So Jamal James fought Butiev. Butiev beat Jamal James, and now they're ordering a fight between Yordenis Ugas and Stanionis. So that's the reason why they are not going to allow Yordenis Ugas to fight Errol Spence Jr. Now, for me, the reason why I'm like, I understand what these guys are trying to do as far as shrinking the number of belts, but it would make sense to me because we're really, the overall thing in boxing for boxing fans is to get rid of as many of these belts as possible throughout the divisions and narrow it down to find out who the champion is in that weight class. So it would make more sense to me if you got a unification, if you consolidated, if you wound up unifying the belts and then trying to get rid of or just put aside a champion and put them as the #1 contender and just organize it in that way, because that's probably just the quickest, easiest way to do it. but you know, they're still going to go by the way that is going to get them the most money and to help them consolidate them belts. Now, as far as what that means for Errol Spence Jr., Errol Spence Jr., who was trying to become an undisputed champion, is not going to be able to fight Yordenis Ugas until Yordenis Ugas has at least 2 more fights, and that will push that past all of 2022 into 2023. Because if you say that they have the purse bid for and they have a fight in, I don't know, January or February for Yordenis Ugas versus Stanionis, and then that winner goes another 3 or 4 months and then has to fight Butiev. After that, you're going into the year of 2023 before that WBA belt is going to be available for anybody. So no matter what we do, we know now, based off this decision by the WBA, that there is not going to be any undisputed champion in the welterweight division before the year of 2023. So what happens in the meantime? Errol Spence Jr. can go right to Terence Crawford and fight and combine those 3 belts, right? But you got problems with that as well. Number one, Terence Crawford has just become a free agent is a free agent. And so he's not with Top Rank anymore. Terence Crawford is going to have to figure out exactly who his promoter is going to be, if he's going to promote himself or what have you. But there's still that financial issue that stands between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, because Errol Spence Jr. really is the cash cow in that division, similar to the way that Gervonta Davis is the cash cow down there at lightweight, you know, and I do believe that it is also related, because you have Leonard Ellerbe, who is a partner with Al Heyman and a partner with Floyd Mayweather Jr. when they established the PBC. He happens to be the president of, you know, the CEO of Mayweather Promotions, but you know the saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Leonard Ellerbe's opinion on what fights to make and the biggest fights to make are going to be financial. And based on what Terence Crawford has done so far in his pay-per-views and his ability to sell, more than likely there's going to be internal resistance to making that Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford fight until they know that Terence Crawford is where the risk-reward type of factor is in order. Also, you definitely also have the issue about whether or not Errol Spence Jr., after having that torn retina, is ready really to go, and he's having a year off. It's well over a year off since he fought Danny Garcia, whether or not he's going to be available and ready to really get in against that level of fighter, right? And I don't think if a guy has a year off, right, a year off and an eye injury, that there's anything wrong with him getting a tune-up. And more than likely, Errol Spence Jr. is not going to want the tune-up. But I have a belief that these guys are going to put him in there against somebody else before they actually make a Terence Crawford fight. But then when you also look at it this way, where you're saying, okay, Errol Spence Jr., even if he takes the Terence Crawford fight and just say for the sake of argument he wins the Terence Crawford fight, he's still not going to be able to fight for undisputed until 2023. And who knows whether or not he's actually going to be staying in that weight class that long. So the most likely outcome for it is probably Errol taking another fight, right? Probably that IBF mandatory against Abu Karev, getting that out of the way. Terence Crawford fighting whoever it is Terence Crawford's going to fight in whatever promotional situation he's going to be in. And then Errol Spence Jr. will probably fight the winner of whoever works out in that WBA deal before the Terence Crawford fight, because that is going to allow those guys to maximize the amount of money that they make in the Terence Crawford fight. My personal hope is that Errol maybe takes that fight against Abu Karev for his mandatory fight, and then goes into the Terence Crawford fight. But, you know, it's just the WBA really screwed the pooch on this one, because there's not going to be any undisputed at 147 pounds for a while. You know what I mean? So it's just absolutely ridiculous, but it is what it is. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. Also, hit the like button, share button, all of that good stuff on the video. It would be greatly appreciated. And with that, I'm out. Peace.